Police! Get down on the phone! What are you looking for? You're making a big mistake. He's only a kid.
Dad, I haven't done anything.
As a father who keeps himself updated of the latest trends, I never thought I would experience a generation gap when my daughter grows up. But my recent viewing of a show called Adolescence on Netflix really opened my eyes. I realized that there is a lot more going on the dark sides of social media that I might never come across ever. And also the same social media is influencing a generation. They're shaping how the personalities of these young impressionable minds is going to be. How we can protect our little kids from the evil side of social media is something that I would like to touch upon in this video. So let's find out. I live in Australia, came up with a recent ruling under which kids under a certain age would not have access to social media, which is great as long as it's implemented correctly and they can actually ensure that little kids don't have access. When I saw Adolescence, there were certain scenes that popped out. In Adolescence, we can see how the bullying is no more restricted to schools, but has actually spilled over to social media. And on social media, the content that's available due to the algorithm of these social media companies is actually influencing these kids even more and making them believe that certain aspects of bullying are okay. It's normalized. Many studies have shown that excessive use of social media can lead to depression and anxiety. And this would especially hit hard the young, impressionable minds. We, being the millennials, might think that we are quite updated with all the internet lingo and the language that's used on social media. But there was this particular scene in the show where a kid tells his father about what different symbols on social media and Instagram actually mean. How different colored hearts mean different things. I never knew that, and it scared me. Because if these are the code languages that these kids are talking to each other with, what else is there that we are completely unaware of? This made me realize, no matter how tech savvy I am, I did not grow up in this world. I did not go to the same school that this generation did, or my daughter's generation would. There would be many things happening in her school that I would be completely unaware of. I might not always be the cool father who knows everything, because I would be completely ignorant of the ways the mind of these young children works. This dark side of social media is something that you have to protect your kids from. The government of Australia is doing its part, and it can give us a reason to go ahead and tell our kids that no, you cannot be on social media because it's actually illegal in our country. That would help me. But for those who are not in Australia, you have to take your own steps to ensure that your kids don't get pulled into the dark side of social media. Here are some parental strategies that you can go for. Number one, you can set appropriate age boundaries on the different devices that they have access to. Such age boundaries, which are very easy to set up depending on the operating system that you have, is something that could be really helpful. Countries like Australia, like I've mentioned, have already decided to put certain age restrictions. But if you're not in Australia, then there are ample number of options available online to restrict the device usage and the app usage depending on the age of the kids that have access to them. Educate, don't restrict. It's very easy to tell them, no, you cannot access this or you cannot view certain things. But the point is, kids are curious by nature. If you tell them you cannot do something, they would be more inclined to actually do it. So what you should do is sit them down and have a conversation about the dangers of social media and how it can impact their life. How you're not restricting them just for the heck of it, but because you really care. Because certain aspects of social media can actually be terrible in terms of what impact they leave on them mentally. The next thing is to encourage real-world connections. One of the reasons I moved to the place that I moved to is because I was aware there would be a lot of people around with kids of similar age as my daughter. So that was something that would ensure that she actually develops real-world connections instead of connections only on social media once she grows up. She already has a lot of kids of her age around her whom she hangs out with, plays with, which really helps because real world is much more easier to monitor than the online social media world. So that's something that you can do. Encourage your kids to create real connections with real people around you instead of strangers on social media. Monitor. Don't spy on your kids. Kids value their privacy. Instead of invading their privacy by outright spying, you can actually foster a good relationship with your kids where they are open to have discussions with you about different aspects of their lives. If you can foster such a relationship, it would always help because you wouldn't have to spy on them because you are aware and you respect them enough for them to come to you and tell what their issues are. But at the same time, in the world of social media and digital parenting, you can put some boundaries, and in case their behavior becomes concerning, you can actually jump in and have a discussion based on the good relationship that you have fostered with them and ask them if there is something that they would like to discuss with you. Social media is not the enemy. It's how you use it that determines how it impacts your life. As long as you're having open conversations with your kids on how they're using social media and what kind of people they're interacting with, I guess social media can actually help your kids be ready for the future that they're getting into. The future is going to be digital. The relationships are going to be digital. But if your kids have a basis in the real life with real connections and real life relationships, they would be aware what needs to be valued more, what's more important, and what's more fulfilling. Have these discussions with your kids. Don't restrict social media altogether. If social media access for your kids is legal in your country, don't force them or restrict them from it totally, but teach them how to deal with the dangers of social media so that they can have a full development in the digital world and not end up having anxiety or depression because of the kind of bullying they might face online. Anytime you believe your kid is displaying a concerning behavior, have a discussion with them. As long as you keep your kids ready to face this new world of social media, I think you shouldn't be worried about what they can get into because every conversation that they have online or in person is something that they would discuss with you. It's all about building a relationship with your kids in which they trust you and you respect them, and hope that a scenario that happened in adolescence doesn't happen in real life again. I hope you liked this video and it gave you some points that could be helpful. If you like this video, then do hit the like button. And for more such videos, subscribe to our channel, The Global Desis. Have a great day.